Imagine a child tripping and falling, scraping their knee. They look up, tears welling in their eyes. What do? Do you scold them for being clumsy? Or do you offer a comforting hug, a gentle cleanup, and words of reassurance? Most of us would instinctively choose the latter, but what about when we ourselves are hurting? Do we extend the same kindness inward? This, in essence, is what self-compassion is all about. It's about treating ourselves with the same care and understanding that we would offer a loved one in need. Instead of berating ourselves for our shortcomings, self-compassion encourages us to meet our struggles with warmth, acceptance, and a gentle touch. This is the power of self-compassion. Self-compassion is not about letting ourselves off the hook or ignoring our mistakes. It's about recognizing that we are worthy of kindness, regardless of our perceived successes or failures. When we practice self-compassion, we create a safe and supportive inner space where we can be ourselves, flaws and all. This allows us to approach our struggles with greater clarity, courage, and resilience. It helps us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and grace. And it allows us to learn from our mistakes without being crippled by shame or guilt. Self-compassion is more than just a feel-good concept, it's a powerful tool for enhancing our well-being. Numerous studies have shown that people who practice self-compassion tend to be happier, more resilient, and have stronger relationships. In a world that often emphasizes self-criticism and comparison, self-compassion offers a radical act of kindness directed inward. This journey, while deeply personal, is one that can benefit not only ourselves but also our families and communities. Imagine this. You've been working tirelessly on a project, pouring your heart and soul into it. You're finally ready to share it with the world, but just as you're about to hit send or submit, doubt creeps in. That nagging voice inside your head starts whispering, telling you it's not good enough, that you're not good enough. This critical inner voice, often fueled by self-doubt, insecurity, and past hurts, can be a powerful deterrent to self-compassion. It constantly reminds us of our flaws, magnifies our mistakes, and compares us unfavorably to others. This relentless negativity can chip away at our self-esteem, leaving us feeling inadequate, unworthy, and deeply unhappy. Lack of self-compassion can manifest in various ways, often subtly impacting our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. One of the most common signs is excessive self-criticism. This involves constantly berating yourself for your mistakes, focusing solely on your perceived flaws, and engaging in negative self-talk. Another telltale sign is a fear of failure. When we lack self-compassion, we tend to avoid challenges or situations where we might make mistakes. Perfectionism is another closely related symptom. This can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and a constant feeling of never being good enough. The lack of self-compassion doesn't just impact our relationship with ourselves, it can also affect our relationships with others. When we're constantly criticizing and judging ourselves, we may project those same negative judgments onto those around us. Moreover, when we lack self-compassion, we may struggle to accept love and support from others. We might doubt their sincerity, believing that we're unworthy of their affection. This can lead to a vicious cycle of pushing others away, reinforcing our feelings of isolation and unworthiness. Children, in particular, are highly attuned to their parents' emotional states. Imagine a house built on solid ground with strong foundations able to withstand storms and the test of time. This is what self-compassion does for our mental and emotional well-being. When we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, particularly during times of difficulty, we create a buffer against stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. Self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our imperfections and mistakes without being defined by them. We begin to understand that everyone makes mistakes, it's part of being human. This realization is incredibly freeing. It allows us to approach challenges with a growth mindset, viewing setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. One of the most significant benefits of self-compassion is its ability to quiet that harsh inner critic we all have. As we cultivate self-compassion, we begin to challenge those negative, self-critical thoughts that can sabotage our happiness and well-being. Instead of berating ourselves for our mistakes, we learn to meet ourselves with understanding and kindness, just as we would a close friend going through a difficult time. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, we can learn to recognize that inner critic's voice for what it is, a product of our past conditioning, and choose to respond with kindness and understanding instead. This shift in our internal dialogue can have a profound impact on our self-esteem, reducing anxiety and boosting our overall sense of well-being. Life is full of challenges. We all face disappointments, setbacks, and losses. Self-compassion plays a crucial role in building emotional resilience, allowing us to bounce back from adversity with greater strength and wisdom. When we respond to difficult emotions with self-compassion, we create space for those emotions to exist without judgment. We acknowledge our pain, sadness, or anger without letting those emotions consume us. This allows us to process our emotions in a healthy way, learning from our experiences and moving forward with greater understanding and acceptance. These self-care practices are essential for building emotional resilience and navigating life's challenges with greater ease. Perhaps the most profound gift of self-compassion is that it paves the way for genuine self-acceptance. When we stop judging ourselves so harshly, when we embrace our imperfections with kindness and understanding, we open ourselves up to the possibility of truly loving and accepting ourselves just as we are. This self-acceptance is not about vanity or self-obsession. It's about recognizing our inherent worthiness as human beings, regardless of our achievements, possessions, or external validation. This deep sense of self-acceptance is transformative. It liberates us from the need to constantly prove ourselves or seek approval from others. Cultivating self-compassion, a journey inward. Imagine embarking on a journey not to a far-off land, but to a place deep within yourself, a place of kindness, understanding, and acceptance. This is the journey of cultivating self-compassion. The first step is often the hardest, acknowledging that we deserve our own compassion. We might be accustomed to extending kindness to others, but when it comes to ourselves, we often resort to self-criticism and judgment. Start by noticing those moments when you're feeling down on yourself. Instead of berating yourself, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a close friend going through the same thing? This is the essence of self-compassion, treating ourselves with the same kindness and care we would offer a loved one. Transforming self-talk from critic to coach. Our inner dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts running through our minds, plays a powerful role in shaping our self-perception and overall well-being. Often this inner voice can be overly critical, replaying past mistakes, highlighting our flaws and fueling feelings of inadequacy. Cultivating self-compassion involves transforming this inner critic into a supportive coach. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with us, we begin to focus on what's right. We celebrate our strengths, acknowledge our efforts, and offer ourselves words of encouragement, particularly when facing challenges. Each time you catch yourself being self-critical, gently redirect your thoughts with kindness and understanding. The power of mindfulness. Meeting ourselves with presence. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life, rarely taking the time to simply be present with ourselves and our experiences. Mindfulness. The practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment can be a powerful tool for cultivating self-compassion. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without getting swept away by them. This non-judgmental awareness allows us to observe our inner experiences with greater clarity and compassion. Mindfulness can be practiced in various ways, from formal meditation practices to simply taking a few moments throughout the day to pause, breathe deeply, and connect with our senses. Over time, this practice can help create a greater sense of self-acceptance and compassion, allowing you to meet difficult emotions with greater ease and resilience. Self-compassion is not selfish, it's essential. When we practice self-compassion, we're more likely to prioritize our well-being by engaging in activities that nourish our body, mind, and spirit. Self-care looks different for everyone. It might involve engaging in activities that bring you joy, such as spending time in nature, listening to music, or pursuing creative endeavors. It might also involve prioritizing rest and relaxation, ensuring you're getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, and engaging in gentle movement or exercise. When we prioritize self-care, we send a powerful message to ourselves that we are worthy of love, care, and attention. From me to we, extending compassion outward. Self-compassion is not a solitary endeavor, it's a ripple effect that extends outward, impacting our relationships with others and the world around us. When we cultivate compassion for ourselves, we naturally become more compassionate and understanding towards others. This outward ripple of compassion can be seen in our interactions with loved ones, colleagues, and even strangers. We become more patient, forgiving, and understanding of others' imperfections, recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles and doing the best they can. When we recognize our shared humanity and interconnectedness, we're more likely to reach out to those in need, advocate for social justice, and contribute to creating a more compassionate and equitable world for all. Embracing our imperfect selves. As we've explored throughout this journey into the heart of self-compassion, one resounding truth emerges. We are all imperfect beings, navigating a complex and often challenging world. It's in those moments of imperfection, those inevitable stumbles and falls along the path of life, that self-compassion becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. Instead of berating ourselves for our mistakes, self-compassion invites us to embrace our humanness, acknowledging that we are all works in progress, always learning and growing. It encourages us to silence that inner critic, that voice of judgment and self-doubt, and replace it with words of kindness, understanding, and encouragement, the same kindness we would offer a loved one in need. This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion is not about lowering our standards or becoming complacent. It's about creating a more supportive and nurturing inner environment where we feel safe to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow. It's about recognizing that our worthiness is not contingent upon our achievements or our ability to be perfect. We are enough, just as we are, imperfections and all. The ripple effect of kindness. The true beauty of self-compassion is that it doesn't end with us. It has a ripple effect, extending outward to touch the lives of those around us. When we cultivate compassion for ourselves, we naturally become more compassionate and understanding towards others. Think about how differently we interact with the world when we're filled with self-criticism versus self-compassion. When we're constantly judging ourselves, it's easy to project those same judgments onto others, creating distance and disconnection. However, when we meet ourselves with kindness, we're more likely to approach others with that same spirit of generosity and understanding. Self-compassion allows us to see the shared humanity in everyone we encounter. We begin to recognize that everyone makes mistakes, everyone experiences pain and disappointment, and everyone is simply doing the best they can with the resources they have. This recognition fosters a sense of connection and empathy, paving the way for stronger, more fulfilling relationships. A journey worth taking. Cultivating self-compassion is a lifelong journey, a continuous practice of choosing kindness over judgment, acceptance over self-doubt. It's a journey that requires patience, courage, and a willingness to challenge those deeply ingrained patterns of self-criticism that may have been with us for years. There will be days when self-compassion flows effortlessly, moments when we can meet our struggles with grace and understanding. And there will be days when it feels challenging, when that inner critic rears its head and self-doubt clouds our perception. On those days, remember that every act of self-compassion, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. As we continue this journey, let us remember that we are not alone. We are all in this together, learning to navigate the complexities of life with greater kindness, courage, and compassion, both for ourselves and for one another. And that in itself is a journey worth taking.